Hey everyone, Andang here for some news and information about MINAS MORGUL. Yes, it's finally that time for pre-orders, and they came sooner than I thought. No, last time they had them pretty late, right, before the expansion dropped, and we're getting them apparently like a month early because we found out that at the end of October, the 29th of October, we should have MINAS MORGUL downloading and ready to be playing, which I'm super excited about. Hopefully you guys are as well. We also learned a whole lot of other stuff. So let's go ahead and get right into this news and information. So here we have the MINAS MORGUL pre-order page, which is disappointingly priced similarly to the last expansion. I was expecting this, so I wasn't too disappointed. But still, it was like, I really wish that they'd move off of this. Like, at least have the top version be like, I don't know, $100? Less than what it is. Please and thank you. Like, I remember the old expansion bundles before Standing Stone games were really good values, I thought. Once they got to Helm's Deep, it started to push it because they raised the cost there. But then when we got to Mordor, it was just such a huge increase, and they're sticking with it. So I guess good on them for sticking with what they got, but I really wish they'd reduce the cost. But yeah, they're not backing down, it seems, off of this increased thing. On the plus side, though, Stout-axes are now part of the base edition. Good job. Good job. You also get an extra character slot. So you don't even have to buy a character slot if you get the Stout-axe, which everyone does if they buy the expansion, which is pretty cool. You also get XP boosts and reputation supplies, so that's like all right. One of the big pieces of information coming out of just this page, look at this, 7 new instances. MINAS MORGUL is going to be the Mirkwood of expansions, it seems like. The Mirkwood of Mordor. We're also getting 2 zones. We'll get to that later. There's news about that. But it looks like that this really is going to be the Mirkwood of Mordor. Which again begs the question, why is it a $40 expansion? But you know, if you're getting that many instances and a new race, good job. This makes me wonder though, because they were talking about how they were going to adjust the pricing based on putting the race in there. I wonder, since there's less zones, if they were actually thinking about having an expansion less than $40 for the base edition and not have the Stout-axe. In which case it would make us wonder, you know, would people have actually wanted a $30 expansion without the Stout-axe? I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited about the Stout-axe just because I'm looking forward to do a permadeath series, which we're going to be doing tonight. So that'll be a lot of fun. I haven't done a permadeath playthrough before, so it'll be interesting to see. My guess is we'll be killed off by lag. That's my guess. We'll be going over the bridge in Rivendell and just lag right off, and that's the end of our character. Which is ironic that the dwarf dies in an elven place. But anyway, that's my expectation for that series, if we don't die much sooner. But anyway, over 250 new quests. Now, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that the Mordor expansion had more quests than that. Yeah, 300 plus quests. What's Helm's Deep have? Does it really not say it on this page? Okay. Wow, I'm not seeing it. Alright, I guess they didn't bother putting it in that expansion look through. What about Riders of Rohan? Let's see how many quests we had there. Yeah, still no, okay. Isengard? Yeah, they still don't even have the quests here. What? I remembered seeing those on there. Moria, I think, had like 500 quests or something ridiculous. It doesn't even list that there. I think on the, let's see. I think on the quad pack it actually lists them, though, if I remember right. Yeah, here we go. 350 quests in Moria, so I over-remembered, I guess. There were only 350 there. Mirkwood, 150 quests, so it's still more quests than Mirkwood. Isengard had 307. Isengard had more quests than Moria. I did not know that. It doesn't feel like that when you're going through there. Anyway, let's continue on. And yeah, it still doesn't even say for Rohan. Great. 3 3-person instances, 1 fellowship, and 1 12. So there were 5 instances with Mirkwood, not including the skirmishes they added later with the story. 3 3-mans, 1 full fellowship. Yeah, so that was kind of the thing. 1 12-person instance. That's still a whatever. Okay. So yeah, this seems like it might be the most number of raids or instances. No, Moria had more, but still, this is returning back to that Moria time frame of thought with a quest amount in between Moria and Mirkwood. So they increase the number of instances, decrease the number of quests, which I think is a good idea. I think that's good. Alright, so that, like I said, I really like the idea that you get an extra character slot for free with, you know, your purchase. But still, begs the question if we would have had a $30 expansion. Anyway, over here we have level boost to 120. That's a lot of the cost right there. And then you got cosmetics, titles, and all the rest of stuff. I just don't care about this stuff anymore. Like, forgive me, but these don't mean anything to me anymore. Now that it's like if it was like $50 for this, I would have jumped on it. But when it's $80, I can't justify that for that. And I really can't justify this either. But it does seem like it's slightly better deal than the Mordor expansion pre-orders were, or expansions were. So good on them. They seem to have a better structure. It's still not what I'd want, but they're moving in the right direction. So, you know, not immediately inflamed over this. And here it does say October 29th, 2019 is the planned release date for Minas Morgul. So we have a little over a month until we get that sweet, sweet expansion. So that'll be good, filled with instances and quests. And that's just all their legalese about all the stuff. So anyway, uncover deeds of old and new. The Lord of the Rings Online Minas Morgul will take you on an expedition deep into the Morgul Vale in search of answers to a mystery that spans 3,000 years. The words of the Shade of Isildur will unearth secrets and visions of the Second Age that have remained untold until now, revealing playable landscape and new adventures from a crucial time in Middle-earth history. So if we look down here, we got the Morgul Vale as well as Mordor Besieged. Now this Mordor Besieged zone, I think, is going to be an entire area of an Isildur flashback. Because the words of the Shade of Isildur will unearth secrets and visions of the Second Age that remain untold until now, revealing playable landscape and new adventures from a crucial time in Middle-earth history. So yeah, I think we are actually going to see a whole region that's a flashback region, which I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it's probably going to be really cool, but are we still going to be playing our character? You know, how's that going to work? The lack of info about it, it sounds like this really is just a quest pack and some instances to fill out. You're very disappointed. Okay. I mean, you are getting the new race. You're getting 7 new instances, the 12-person raid, and the 250 quests, which is not that far off from the rest of their expansions. And you have more instances than the others. So I don't think, even without the Stout-axe, it's that unreasonable of a thing. But it remains to be seen, you know, how big this playable area really is. And that could really disappoint a lot of people. I could see that. But I was expecting this to have less landscape and more instances anyway. Because this whole time they've just been saying, like, Minas Morgul, Minas Morgul, Minas Morgul. They haven't really been talking about anywhere else in Mordor, right? Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Edelegency. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Also, Jack, welcome to the chat. Raider, welcome to the chat. Tepic, welcome to the chat. Nice to have all of you here. So I wasn't that I was kind of expecting this, to be honest. I'm not surprised, and I even had conversations with Aruin off stream about how I was thinking that this is. He and I were both thinking actually that this is how it was going to be. So I'm not too surprised. I would have rather had more of Mordor, but if that doesn't fit the story they're telling, and if they're going to go like more in depth and have more interesting things, you know, I'll be waiting to see. But if they're just filling this area with a bunch of nothing quests that are in the same area over and over and over again, then I'm going to be upset, right? Hey, Geistwolf, thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Then I'd be really upset. As long as they don't do that, where it's the same area over and over and over again, which they've done many times in previous expansions, as long as the questing isn't like that and the instances are good, I think we're fine. Also, it sounds like that, I don't know if these 7 instances are going to be soloable, or if they're just going to have more instances that are also soloable as well. I don't know. Usually an expansion will have quite major changes though with new systems, and the new race is really quite close to existing dwarves, that's true. If you got everything for $40, fine, but $120 being literally double the price of most deluxe expansions, which include all previous content, etc., just looks bad to me. Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think that that's a good deal. It's a better deal than Mordor was, but go back and watch my Mordor thing. I was furious about that. Because I've already been furious about this before, I'm not like freaking out like I normally do. I probably should be, but it's just, I'm not, it's what I expected. If you look at Daybreak, all of their expansions for their MMOs, which remember, Standing Stone is being published by Daybreak Games, all of their MMOs have this pricing structure, pretty much. There might be 1 or 2 exceptions, but pretty much all of them have this pricing structure. That does not excuse it at all. But that's how the pricing structure is for this, so it doesn't surprise me. Hey, Twitching Jeff, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Do you know which server has the best PvP at the moment? As far as I know, it's still Brandywine. Arkenstone has pretty good PvP too, I've heard. But as far as I know, it's still Brandywine has the most, and that's just because it has the most players, so there's the most action over in PvP because there's more players on that server. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, I agree, Tepic. I got the $40 expansion. I didn't get the higher versions because they're not marketing to me anymore. They're marketing to the diehard fans that want to get everything, right? They're not marketing to somebody that wants like cool cosmetics but doesn't want to have to pay a ton of money. So yeah, absolutely big fan of your content. Keep it up. Hey, thank you so much, Guys Wolf. Thank you so much. So yeah, this did not surprise me, but I am disappointed heavily. No question. So let's see. So yeah, we're gonna have a whole flashback zone, which I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it could be bad. It could be, I don't know. I think it'll be similar to when we went like undercover in Isengard or something like that, where it's still our character, but we're in like this flashback. But I hope we don't have just like, okay, at the very least, I hope they don't have that filter on that they do for like all the flashbacks, the sepia filter. I hope they don't have that on for the entire zone. Like, could you, that would be awful, right? That would be almost unplayable, I think. Like, I don't want multiple hours of that filter. I have a hard enough time when they're doing the flashback there because I get upset because like you can't take screenshots because they all look like horrible flashbacky. They don't look as beautiful as they normally would be or as horrible as they normally would be. So I hope they don't do that either. That would be bad too. For a new player, you'd be looking at having to buy the $80 one and use the boost. That's true. That is true, yeah. Yeah, and if you compare this with World of Warcraft, these pricing structures are ridiculous, like absolutely disgusting. Yeah, if you compare it with the biggest MMO in the genre, the one that you're supposed to be trying to compete with, this is awful. No question. Do you know if the level cap is going up? You play on Arnor, but thinking about getting to the actual game, just new raids and PvP. Yeah, the level cap is going to be going up to 130. It says that somewhere, eventually. Here we go. Reach character level 130 with the launch of the expansion. There you go. Level 130. So anyway, not too sure how I feel about the flashback zone, but I think it has the potential to be really cool, right? Seeing Mordor besieged and going through that whole thing. Like, there is some awesome moments there, and I'm surprised that they have the rights for that, but I guess it is all within Lord of the Rings, so they're good to go. That seems like they might be kind of trying to compete with Amazon and get like a foot ahead of them, kind of a thing. I don't know. Anyway, you have the new race, Stout-axe dwarves, meet lost civilization of Stout-axe dwarves and live their story. You have to remember, it's great. Two new regions, explore the Moral Vale as well as Mordor besieged. Face Shelob. Finally! They have been teasing this Shelob raid since, like, what, 2013? It's been since Gondor. It's been a long time. It's before Minas Tirith. Before Minas Tirith came out, they've been teasing the Shelob raid. And we're finally getting it. That's awesome. Jews, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Thoughts on pricing? I'm getting this version, and I already ranted about the other two. But I wasn't so surprised because that's how the previous one was. Yeah, it was 130, wasn't it? I was, for a second, thought it might have been 120, but no, it was 130 before. You're sure the new two zones will be okay, other than new ones, because of pretty much no lead up to it? It's going to be all reduced assets, which again, you don't expect in a new expansion. No lead up to it? What are you talking about? We had the whole Mordor expansion leading up to Minas Morgul, which would potentially create new, reused assets, but they haven't had a content update since, like, what, August? And that one was smaller than their normal content update, and this expansion seems smaller than their normal expansion. Plus, they said that they split into 2 different crews to do this. So, if they're doing that, that means there's been an expansion team presumably working on this since they finished the DDO expansion. So there should be, plenty of time to create new assets and do all that sort of stuff. The top of this tower and stuff like that looks new. But, obviously we already saw Minas Morgul from a distance. They then just had to flesh it out like normal. So presumably they would have already built Minas Morgul, right? So at least to some extent. Because usually the landscape team is well at like years ahead of the rest of the content crew, or at least quite a bit ahead. So presumably they've already had plenty of time to create new assets for this expansion. But you never know. No lead up with marketing, teasers, videos, etc. They've shown stuff, shown off stuff if they had new things, you think? Yeah, that's true. And the beta test hadn't really started, but my guess is they took the feedback from Mordor, right? Because every previous expansion, they didn't have a marketing lead up to the pre-orders going up. They released a trailer, which we'll get to in a moment. I think a lot of people don't realize that they did release a trailer today. And they released, this whole infographic along with screenshots over on the market and things like that. So, I think that the lead up has been their normal lead up. Standing Stone Games never, and Turbine never has a marketing lead up, which makes me furious. They have a marketing team that they pay money for, that's salaried. They get paid constantly. And yet, I don't see the results of that, right? I see it with expansions and things like that, but with them not doing an expansion every year, like, I'm not trying to sound harsh, but, like, what are they doing? I'm sure they're doing plenty, but I don't see the results of that as a player. So maybe I shouldn't. Maybe, as a player I shouldn't be seeing that, but This looks like a quest pack and instance bundle sold as an expansion. You could be wrong, of course. Hey, thank you so much, Twitching Jeff. Really appreciate it. Thanks for following. Yeah, I could see this very much being just a zone, or I guess 2 zones. But they do say region, which is their new terminology, so, you know, but still, they do say region. I don't know how big Minas Morgul is going to be. Let me look up Mordor map LOTRO. Let's see here. Here we go. So presumably, we'd have, you know, this whole area, which does not seem that big. You guys are right. Plus we have whatever besieged Mordor is. Hands aren't in the screen. There we go. Whatever that means, which I'm assuming is going to have to do with, you know, all the stuff that they did when they marched in and, you know, showed Sauron who's boss at the end of the Second Age, right? So that'll be interesting to see. Not sure how that's all going to work, but you know, that could be a fairly big area. But I really hope that there's a new area with that, right? Let's see. What would it be called? Here we go. War of the Last Alliance. So you got the You got the Battle of Daggerlad, which I'm presuming they're not including because we already kind of saw that. Siege of Barad-dûr. So presumably we'd be sieging Barad-dûr, right? And maybe get an instance with that. I don't know. But Isildur's sons. Let's just read this out loud. This is from Tolkien Gateway. The forces of the Last Alliance had forced their way through the Black Gate into Mordor itself. Victory seemed close, but no power short of the Valar could breach the Dark Tower by force. Though a great part of Sauron's forces was destroyed at the Daggerlad, his host was still numerous, and Sauron ordered many a sortie. The siege went on year after year, from Second Age 3434 to 3441. Isildur's sons were detached and sent to Minas Ithil to guard against. So there you go, we get Minas Ithil. I bet that's what the other zone is. I bet they're counting 2 zones, Minas Morgul and Minas Ithil. And hopefully Barad-dûr as well, right? So if that's the case, by the way, I did want to mention, if you go to lotro.com/Minas Morgul, it redirects you to lotro.com/Minas Ithil, which is what we're looking at. So I'm guessing that would be the other zone, right? Morgul and Ithil. Or they could be the same zone. That's true, Jeff. They could be. I don't know. But it does have 250 quests, so it's definitely more than just a normal quest pack, right? It's not just a small quest area. It's going to have 250 new quests. My guess would be like 200 and 100. You know, 100 in that flashback area and 200 in the other. And it's not like copping out with how they do because normal quest packs are like 80 quests and deeds, right? They're not just quests and deeds. So in theory, this should be, you know, like what, 4 to 5 times as much as a normal like zone release. That seems like an expansion to me. It's you know, we had 300 with Mordor. We're getting 250 with this one. So we're not getting as many new zones. That's true. But we are getting a lot of quests. So the question is then, how big are these zones, right? Hopefully big enough to have 250 quests without it feeling repetitive. Mordor was trash, though? Just a big, black, empty place? I can see that point of view. I really enjoyed Mordor. not the first area. A dune was pointless, right? There was just a lot of repetitive quests. It was set, like, basically your introduction. It was really grindy. It was boring. Once you got past a dune, I liked all the rest of the zones, especially the was it the Morgul Vale? I don't remember what it's called. FL Duath. I love the spider place, right? Hey, Arun, welcome to the chat. Cool, you're hyped for Miss Morgul. Good deal. I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, that was my favorite zone, was the spider area, right? So in theory, this should be a pretty good area too. It seemed to have the strongest storyline as well, so hopefully we'll see a strong storyline here. Also, by something that I read, which I don't remember if it's in this or if in somewhere else, but we'll get to it if it's not in here. It acted like this is going to be the end of the Black Book, or at least pretty close, because you're going to be taken on, and I think it said, I don't remember, but it was something like you're going to literally be defeating the enemies that were set up with Mordor, basically. So it should be a concluding type chapter. My guess is this is going to be similar to Isengard or to Mirkwood. It's going to be in between there. So, yeah, I do understand that that makes a lot of players upset, but we'll see where it goes, right? Is the Stout-axe Dwarves even worth playing? It's not a new class, right? So it's not different gameplay. But if you need an excuse to play a new class, which I kind of do, so that's what we're going to be doing, I think it's worth playing, trying out a new class. It's an excuse to get one, right? But it's ultimately up to you, right? When does this release? It says right up here that it's going to be October 29th. Which I know you might not be able to read that. But yeah, October 29th. Let's see, what do we got? There we go. So anyway, 7 new instances and a 12 person. Now it does say 7 new 3 and 6. I'm guessing that that's split. I'm guessing that they're not both 3 or 6, right? Because that'd be weird, I think. But you never know. Alright, Jack, thank you so much for tuning in. What are the new regions? We know for sure that it says the Morgul Vale as well as Mordor Besieged. That's the 2 new regions. Morgul Vale, Minas Morgul. Mordor Besieged, I'm guessing, is Minas Ithil to Barad-dûr, and somewhere like including the Black Gate and all that stuff, because of what we just read on Tolkien Gateway. That would be my guess. So my guess is that this Mordor Besieged is going to be a pretty large area, but it's going to include a lot of the stuff that we've already seen, just at a different time period. Keep in mind that they do have completely, if you remember in the flashbacks that we saw at the Battle of the Black Gate and stuff like that, they have completely different assets for the other age, right? It's a totally different Black Gate, it's a totally different, all the stuff. So we should be seeing a totally different Barad-dûr, totally different all that. So there's at least that. There's going to be new assets in this Mordor Besieged, if nowhere else, right? Time travel? Apparently it's going to be something like the ghost of Isildur telling us what happened, basically. That's what this says. The words of the Shade of Isildur. So yeah, presumably time travel, right? At Legacy, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Techno Beaver, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. SG, welcome, welcome. You hope it's not more session play? Yeah, right? I don't want a whole zone of session play. That would be awful. No, we don't need another whole zone of session play, especially with that filter, like I was saying before. So hopefully it's not like that, especially since there's this whole Mordor Besiege thing. Now, there is the chance, right? I don't think this is the case because of what this says with Expedition for spanning 3,000 years or whatever. But there is the chance that this Mordor Besieged actually has to do with the present time, and it has to do with the villains fighting each other, right? There's that chance that that's what this could be. Yeah, I thought so as well. It looks like Shadow of War meets LOTRO, right? That's what the MINAS MORGUL looks like, I think, as well. Which makes me wonder if the books are actually closer to Shadow of War. I don't know what the books describe, but I know Chris Pearson would be following this to a T, right? So that makes me wonder if the books actually describe something closer to Shadow of War. I think that would make a lot of people cringe. But anyway, like I said, we're finally getting Shelob. It's been teased for like 5 years or something ridiculous like that before we went to Minas Tirith, which would have been at least 2015, so at least 4 years. But I'm pretty sure there was a 2014 article, so 5 years later, we're finally getting that Shelob raid that they were teasing all the way back then in a producer's letter. They had been teasing it on the forums even before that. Finally getting that Shelob raid. That alone, for me, I want to see the Shelob raid, right? It maybe doesn't completely validate the concept, like I need more going on than just that, but that alone is like, I want to see that Shelob raid. Isn't she wounded though? Yeah, in theory she would be wounded from Sam, right? Slingshot around the sun. Wrong game. Okay. Anyway, there's new crafting, and then there's also the Black Book of Mordor. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Vanquish the lingering remnants of evil. That sounds like a conclusion if I've ever heard one. And stop the remaining denizens of Mordor. Again, conclusion to me. Who conspire for the power in the wake of Sauron's defeat. I might be crazy, but this sounds like Shelob's going to get defeated or at least really hurt. And presumably all the other powers are going to be finally like battling it out in that war. Which means we're going to have the big showdown in this expansion. So from a story point of view, there's going to be a lot going on, right? That's what I'm getting from this. And then the requirements are still pretty close to the same as far as I know. So yeah, that's the Minas Morgul expansion so far, what we know. We're going to go ahead and watch the trailer here. You would not be shocked at all if this is the end of the Black Book? Your dad agrees, okay. Alright, here we go. So, inside and outside Minas Morgul. We got a zone with some type of enemies, and then we're going, like, inside Gondor? Like, look, there's flags of Gondor there. So I'm guessing that... Hold on. Flags of Gondor here. So I'm guessing that what we're seeing here is Minas Ithil being transformed. What would be interesting if this was actually Minas Morgul and they just never took down the flags, right? Yeah, we'll just leave them up. Why not? As an insult. I don't know. But I'm trying to decide where it... Is it just me? Let's actually play it through. It seems like that they either blurred this out, or this has the same like flashbacky glow to it that we normally see, but I don't know. That's like crystal clear. So I guess it's just this fog that's around here, right? It's just obscuring it. Anyway, let's keep going. Oh, post-war Minas Morgul, that would be cool. I doubt those statues would still be there, right? But yeah, it's like a lighthouse almost of evil. And yeah, so there's your pre-order announcement trailer. Got Shelob in at the end there. So yeah, they're finally doing Shelob. That trailer could have been way better, but I'm hoping that there's, you know, many more to come. Can you tell I've been watching 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown? So anyway, there's definitely going to be more to come, right? Like that, they're not just going to leave it there. I'm guessing it's going to be like Mordor. They're going to have multiple trailers with this, but I like the logo. The logo looks really cool. And Minas Morgul also, I think, looks really cool. It looks better than we saw when we just, like, visited that one time, right? So it looks like they finally threw on some extra stuff to make it look more awesome and more like what I expected, because it looked pretty disappointing when we saw it when we went there really early. Like, it was, I want to say it was before the Mordor expansion, right, when we went there? Or maybe at, like, the very start. Sure hope the whole thing isn't another Mordor being all dark and depressing. Yeah. I wouldn't hold my breath, though, Viper. I wouldn't hold my breath. Teaser was cheesy. Yeah, I agree. Looks like the Shadow of War. But yeah, the teaser was pretty cheesy. I wish they would have called it teaser at the very least, not trailer. That kind of hypes it up a little bit more. But, you know, it has a lot of likes, so people seem to have enjoyed the trailer. There's nothing wrong at all with being dark and depressing. I agree, Chromite. I want to see another dark area. We went to these light areas for, what, a year? A year, almost 2 years. Because Mordor was 2017, right? So for 2 years, we've been in the light and happy places. I think it's time to go back to the dark areas. Not necessarily depressing. I don't want the depressing part of Mordor, right? But if we can have the dark stuff and just a whole lot of action and stuff going on there and not be, you know, be more interesting, because they set everything up, right? And have it all go down with this expansion. If it all goes down with this expansion, I think we're going to be in a good spot. We have to drive back the darkness somewhere. That's true. That is true. You don't expect the Shire and everywhere. Yeah. Hey, Druid's Fire. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, could have had a better trailer, but we got what we got. Hopefully there will be one that's really good. Like, I would like to see a cinematic trailer at the level of something like SWTOR, right? I don't think we're ever going to see that for LOTRO, but it'd be cool to at least have a Rise of Isengard type trailer when they did the Saruman cinematic thing. Like, that was pretty cool. Yeah, it'll take everyone a while to get there, right? Yeah, now the question is, are they going to bring back the Light of Arendelle, right? I hope not, because it seems like people felt like it was just Radiance 2.0. So, I'm hoping that they don't bring it back. They need EA's stash of money, that's true. Don't mention the light armor again, right? Yeah, I think in general the community did not like the light armor. And imagine building upon that, needing even higher requirements, like... And also that would kind of break the previous instances, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Finally in Central Gondor. Hey, there you go. Alright. Well, the level cap is going to 130. It sounds like there's going to be enough content to get us there with 250 quests. So, hopefully it won't just be a bunch of repetitive stuff and it'll be really good. At the very least, their logo guy did a good job, I feel like. That's probably one of the coolest, if not the coolest, logo we've had so far for LOTRO. Since, like, Shadows of Angmar, right? Like, that's cool. Alright, well, that's enough of that. Let's switch on over to LOTRO, which apparently closed because we had it sitting too long. Alright, here we go. We'll get back into LOTRO here. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I was going to look at one more thing. Let's see. Da, da, da. Let me load in here real quick. There we go. Alright, we were going to look at the images that were here at the LOTRO market, so let's switch back. And yeah, so we got this cool thing, right? Got your Minas Morgul. I'm assuming that's Sauron? Like, I don't know who else that would be, right? But man, that does not look like your father's Sauron. Like, anyway, and then I guess this is the Witch King? Question mark. Like, not really sure who these people are, but that would be my guess. Just starting Riders of Rohan last week. Now you're in Central Gondor. Okay. So, anyway, it looks cool. Like, this is a cool promotional image, right? Like, there's Barad-dûr, so I'm guessing that's Sauron. And then we got Minas Morgul over here with, presumably, the Witch King. So, yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty crazy with, like, the corruption of the ring like that. Like, that looks crazy. If we see a whole lot of, like, crazy Sauron, like, sure, that would be a cool expansion. Okay, so then we also have, like, inside Minas Morgul. Let me actually... Yeah, there we go. We got outside with, like, an elf and a dwarf. Player characters, I'm assuming, just looking over. It looks like those are the new, like, starting armor, but I'm not sure. And then we got somewhere inside Minas Morgul, which looks very disappointing. Like, but like, what are you gonna put in here, right? But I don't know. I don't want a whole Minas Tirith of just like this, right? Like, please don't give us a whole Minas Tirith of just this. Here we go. This is definitely someplace new, right? Like, these trees are different. This looks like something totally different. So that's going to be somewhere near Shelob, I'm guessing. Looks pretty cool. Maybe Lithlad? I don't know. Kind of looks like the Red Swamp in the Lone Lands. Yeah, it does. It keeps going away from... Alright. Here we go. Interesting. Considering how the URL was Minas Ithil and hints of flashbacks, you thinking of them way back in the day before Ithil fell? Yeah, that's true. This could be before Ithil fell. Interesting. That would be interesting. Main on Landerville, da-da-da. Chromites on them all. There you go. But yeah, I need to see more. Like, I already pre-ordered it, so I'm getting it, right? But I need to see more before I'm really excited. I think that's where I'm at. But it's cool. And like I said, if it all goes down in this expansion, I'm there. We're good. We're good to go. Alright, let's switch back over to LOTRO, which still hasn't loaded because we didn't log in yet. Here we go. And let's create a Stout-axe.